In the vast emptiness of the Orion Arm, the human spaceship Tenacity drifted silently through the darkness, her massive form barely registering on conventional scanning systems. The ship's quantum-dampened hull absorbed nearby radiation, making her nearly invisible to the sophisticated sensors of the galaxy's more advanced species. Captain Sarah Chen stood at the bridge's observation window, her weathered face reflected against the backdrop of distant stars. "Status report on the Zexri fleet movements," she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of 2 decades in deep space command. Lieutenant Maya Rodriguez, the ship's sensor officer, spoke without looking up from her console. 3 Zexri warships just dropped out of FTL, Captain. Their energy signatures suggest they're running active scans of the sector. A pause. They're being rather casual about it. Chen allowed herself a small smile. The Zexri Alliance, like most advanced spacefaring species, had grown complacent in their technological superiority. Their ships were marvels of engineering, sleek, fast, and powerful. But they'd forgotten something crucial about humanity's rise from Earth. Sometimes the oldest tricks were the best ones. "Dr. Harrison, how's our new stealth system holding up?" Chen asked, turning to face the ship's chief engineer. The tall, lanky scientist was already grinning, his fingers dancing across his holographic display. "Beautiful, Captain. The quantum dampeners are performing even better than simulated. As far as their sensors are concerned, we're just another piece of space debris." Harrison's eyes sparkled with pride. "They have no idea we've been tracking them for the past 3 days." The Tenacity represented humanity's response to being consistently underestimated by the galactic community. While other species focused on building faster, more powerful ships, humanity had taken a different approach. The Tenacity was massive by most standards, her hull constructed with layers of smart metal that could adapt to different energy signatures. But her true strength lay in her ability to hide in plain sight. Multiple targeting locks detected. Rodriguez suddenly called out, "The Zexri ships are charging weapons. They're targeting the mining colony on Proxima Vi." Chen's expression hardened. The Zexri had been raiding human colonial operations for months, always striking with overwhelming force before disappearing into FTL. But this time, they'd made a crucial mistake. They thought they were alone. "Battle stations," Chen ordered calmly. "Disengage stealth systems on my mark. Harrison, power up the kinetic drivers. Rodriguez, calculate firing solutions for all 3 targets." She paused, watching as the elegant Zexri ships moved into attack formation. "Let's show them why you should never judge a ship by its size." The bridge crew worked with practiced efficiency. The Tenacity might appear slow and cumbersome to outside observers, but every member of her crew knew the truth. Under her bulky exterior lay a weapon system unlike anything in known space. "Zexri ships launching fighters," Rodriguez reported. "They're beginning their attack run on the colony." "Perfect," Chen smiled. "They're fully committed. Harrison, on my mark. Initiate the gravity pulse." The Tenacity's most closely guarded secret wasn't her stealth technology or her advanced sensors. It was something far more fundamental: the ability to manipulate local gravitational fields with unprecedented precision. While other species had mastered faster-than-light travel and energy weapons, humanity had focused on understanding and controlling gravity itself. Stealth systems disengaging in 3, 2, 1. The Tenacity flickered into visibility, her massive form seemingly materializing from nowhere less than 10,000 kilometers from the nearest Zexri vessel. Before the alien ships could react, she unleashed her first attack. Not a conventional weapon, but a precisely calculated gravitational pulse that disrupted the delicate balance of the Zexri ship's artificial gravity systems. The effect was immediate and devastating. The Zexri fighters, caught in the pulse, spun wildly out of control as their navigation systems failed. The larger ships fared little better, their crews suddenly finding themselves in an environment where gravity seemed to have gone mad. "Target the lead ship's propulsion systems," Chen ordered. "Conventional weapons only. Let's not reveal all our tricks at once. The Tenacity's kinetic drivers roared to life, launching hyper-accelerated projectiles that punched through the lead Zexri ship's weakened shields like they weren't even there. The alien vessel's engine section erupted in a cascade of explosions, leaving it dead in space. The other two ships are attempting to retreat, Rodriguez reported, unable to keep the satisfaction from her voice. Their FTL drives are spooling up. Let them go, Chen commanded. They'll carry the message back to their fleet. Humanity isn't the easy target they thought we were. As the remaining Zexri ships disappeared into FTL, Chen turned to her crew. Well done, everyone. But this is just the beginning. They'll be back, and next time they'll be ready for a fight. She paused, looking at each crew member in turn. That's exactly what we want. Because next time, we'll show them what this ship can really do. The Tenacity resumed her silent watch over the colony, once again fading from visible detection. But now she waited not just as a guardian, but as a warning. Humanity might not have the fastest ships or the most advanced energy weapons, but they had something far more dangerous, the ability to turn their perceived weaknesses into their greatest strengths. And this was only the beginning of what they could do. The aftermath of the Tenacity's first engagement spread through Zexri space like wildfire. Their military command was in upheaval, their carefully maintained image of superiority shattered by a single human vessel. Within their grand assembly chambers, Admiral Vextor paced before the gathered war council, his crystalline carapace reflecting the harsh lighting. This human vessel, he clicked in their native tongue, is an aberration. A primitive species should not possess such capabilities. He gestured to the holographic replay of their defeat. We must respond with overwhelming force. Back aboard the Tenacity, Captain Chen reviewed the latest intelligence reports with her senior staff. Dr. Harrison's holographic displays showed a massive buildup of Zexri forces in neighboring systems. They're gathering quite the welcoming committee, Harrison noted, adjusting his glasses. I count at least 15 capital ships, including their new stellar dreadnought. Lieutenant Rodriguez leaned forward, her dark eyes scanning the tactical overlay. They're adapting their formations to counter gravitational attacks. Whatever element of surprise we had is gone. Chen nodded, having expected this. Good. Let them prepare for our last trick. Dr. Harrison, how's Project Chimera coming along? The engineer's face lit up with barely contained excitement. Ready for field testing, Captain. The smart metal hull modifications are complete. The Tenacity can now reconfigure her external structure in real time. This was humanity's true ace, not just the ability to control gravity, but to adapt and evolve mid-battle. While the Zexri built bigger ships with more powerful weapons, humans had developed technology that could learn and change. Multiple FTL signatures detected. Rodriguez called out suddenly. The Zexri fleet is arriving ahead of schedule. The space around the Tenacity erupted with light as ship after ship dropped out of FTL. The Zexri fleet emerged in perfect formation, their ships arranged in a three-dimensional net designed to prevent escape. They're hailing us, Rodriguez reported. On screen, Chen ordered, straightening in her chair. Admiral Vextor's alien face filled the main display. Human vessel, you have committed acts of aggression against the Zexri Alliance. Surrender now, and we will ensure your crew is treated with mercy. Chen smiled diplomatically. Admiral, I believe there's been a misunderstanding. We simply prevented an unauthorized attack on a civilian colony. Perhaps we could discuss this like civilized species. The Admiral's crystalline features hardened. The time for discussion has passed. You will surrender your gravity manipulation technology, or we will take it by force. I was afraid you'd say that. Chen sighed. Harrison, initiate Chimera Protocol. Rodriguez, battle stations. The Tenacity's hull began to shift, panels realigning and restructuring. To the watching Zexri fleet, it appeared as if the human ship was falling apart, but they couldn't have been more wrong. Fascinating, Harrison muttered, monitoring the transformation. The smart metal is adapting faster than our simulations predicted. It's learning from the Zexray energy signatures in real time. The Zexray opened fire, their energy weapons converging on the Tenacity's position. But instead of impacting shields or armor, the beams were absorbed, redirected, and reflected back by the constantly shifting hull configuration. "Return fire," Chen ordered. "Show them what else we've been working on." The Tenacity's response was unlike anything the Zexray had encountered. The ship's reconfiguring hull formed temporary weapons ports, each one uniquely designed to counter specific enemy vessels. Gravitational pulses combined with conventional weapons in an ever-changing dance of destruction. "Their formation is breaking," Rodriguez reported with satisfaction. 3 ships disabled, 2 more with critical damage. Admiral Vextor's voice crackled over the comm. "Impossible. Your technology cannot be this advanced. You are primitives." "A common misconception," Chen replied calmly. "You see, Admiral, while you were perfecting your energy weapons and FTL drives, we were learning how to adapt. Every shot you fire teaches our ship something new. Every tactic you try helps us evolve." The Zexray fleet's coordinated attack dissolved into chaos as the Tenacity continued to transform. What had appeared to be a slow, vulnerable target was revealing itself to be something far more dangerous, a ship that could turn any attack into an opportunity to grow stronger. "Harrison," Chen called out, "how about we show them the final surprise?" The engineer's fingers flew across his console. "Antimatter catalysts primed, Captain. The hull has absorbed enough energy from their attacks to power a full conversion." The space around the Tenacity began to warp and twist as the ship's absorbed energy was converted into pure destructive potential. The Zexray ships closest to the phenomenon found their shields failing, their systems overloading from exposure to the transformed energy. "Admiral," Chen addressed the increasingly agitated Zexray commander, "I suggest you withdraw your forces. What you're seeing is just a fraction of what humanity is capable of. We don't want war. We never did. But we will defend ourselves." The Zexray fleet began to retreat, their perfect formation now in shambles. As they fled into FTL, Admiral Vextor transmitted one final message. "This isn't over, human. The galaxy will know of this." "Oh, we're counting on it," Chen replied as the transmission cut off. She turned to her crew, noting their tired but proud expressions. "Well done, everyone. But the Admiral was right about one thing. This isn't over. We've shown them our adaptability, but they'll be back with new tactics, new weapons." Harrison looked up from his console, where the hull was already beginning to analyze and incorporate the data from the battle. "Let them come, Captain. Every encounter makes us stronger. That's the one thing they still don't understand about humanity. We never stop evolving." The Tenacity resumed her patrol route, her hull slowly settling back into its original configuration. But now she was different, improved, having learned from every shot fired and every tactic employed. The Zexray would indeed return, and when they did, they would find that humanity had evolved yet again. News of the Zexray defeat spread through the galactic community like a shockwave. In the crystalline chambers of the Kraxan Empire's War Council, Emperor Kralfax watched the battle recordings with his 4 eyes narrowed in calculation. The Kraxan had long stood as the galaxy's premier military force, their bioorganic ships feared throughout known space. "The humans have hidden their true capabilities well," Kralfax rumbled, his massive form shifting on the command throne. "Perhaps too well." Aboard the Tenacity, Captain Chen studied the latest intelligence reports with growing concern. The ship's quantum sensors had detected massive fleet movements throughout Kraxan space. Dr. Harrison and Lieutenant Rodriguez worked tirelessly at their stations, analyzing the incoming data. "They're combining their fleets," Rodriguez reported, her fingers dancing across the tactical display. "The Zexray and Kraxan ships are gathering in the Helios sector. Initial count suggests over 40 capital ships." Harrison whistled low. "They're not taking any chances this time. The Kraxan bioships alone could give us trouble. Their organic hulls can adapt almost as quickly as our smart metal. Chen nodded grimly, almost being the key word. How's the integration of the data from our last battle? The ships learned more than we expected, Harrison replied, pulling up a complex diagram of the Tenacity's evolving systems. The smart metal has developed new configurations we hadn't even theorized. It's not just adapting anymore, it's innovating. A sudden alert cut through the bridge. Rodriguez's hands flew across her console. Multiple quantum wake signatures detected. They're trying to surround us with micro-jumps. Chen's expression remained calm. They've studied our previous encounters. They know we can counter their conventional FTL approaches. She turned to Harrison. Time to show them our latest innovation. Initiate protocol quantum echo. The engineer's eyes lit up as he began the sequence. The Tenacity's newly evolved systems hummed to life, creating a cascade of quantum distortions around the ship. To the approaching Allied fleet, it appeared as if the human vessel was simultaneously in multiple locations. Quantum displacement field stable, Harrison reported. We're existing in a state of probability rather than fixed space. They won't be able to get a solid weapons lock. The combined Zexri and Kraxen fleet emerged from their micro-jumps, their formations arranged in a complex three-dimensional grid. The bioships of the Kraxen pulsed with organic energy, their living hulls already beginning to analyze and adapt to the quantum phenomenon before them. Emperor Krelfax's voice boomed across all frequencies. Clever humans, using quantum uncertainty as a defense. But your ship cannot maintain such a state indefinitely. Our bioships will learn. They will adapt. They will evolve. You're right about one thing, Chen responded, her voice steady. Everything evolves. Harrison, show them what we've learned from studying their bioships. The Tenacity's smart metal hull began to pulse with a biomimetic frequency, creating patterns that confused the organic sensors of the Kraxen vessels. The quantum displacement field synchronized with these pulses, making the ship appear to phase in and out of reality itself. Their bioships are responding, Rodriguez reported, excitement creeping into her voice. The organic hulls are trying to match our quantum state, but they can't maintain cohesion. Several Kraxen vessels began to writhe in space, their living hulls unable to process the contradictory data they were receiving. The Zexri ships, lacking biological components, pressed their attack, only to find their weapons passing through quantum echoes while the real Tenacity struck from impossible angles. Fascinating, Harrison muttered, monitoring the ship's evolving systems. The smart metal is learning from the bioship's attempts to adapt. It's incorporating their organic patterns into our quantum matrix. Chen allowed herself a small smile. They thought they could overwhelm us with numbers and biological adaptation. Instead, they'd given us exactly what we needed, new patterns to learn from. The battle space became a dance of quantum shadows and biological confusion. The Tenacity shifted between states of reality, each movement teaching its systems more about both quantum mechanics and biological adaptation. The Allied fleet's coordinated attack dissolved into chaos as ships fired at phantoms and bioships struggled to maintain their structural integrity. Captain, Harrison called out, his voice tight with controlled excitement. The ship's quantum integration with the biopatterns has reached a critical threshold. We can initiate a full spectrum cascade. Chen's eyes narrowed. Will their ships survive it? The conventional vessels, yes. The bioships, Harrison paused. They'll be temporarily paralyzed, but their organic systems should recover. Do it, Chen ordered. Let's show them the price of underestimating human innovation. The Tenacity pulsed with energy, sending out a wave of quantum biological feedback that rippled through space. The Kraxen bioships seized up, their organic systems overwhelmed by the cascade of conflicting quantum states. The Zexri vessels, suddenly deprived of their biological allies, found themselves facing the human ship that had learned to exist in multiple states of reality simultaneously. Emperor Krelfax's voice crackled through the comm, tinged with something that might have been respect. Never in our history have we encountered a species that could turn our own biological superiority against us. Perhaps we have misjudged humanity's place in the galaxy. That's been happening a lot lately, Chen replied dryly. Would you like to discuss terms, or should we continue this demonstration? The combined fleet began to withdraw, the disabled bioships being towed by their conventional allies. As they retreated, Harrison's console lit up with new data streams. Captain, you need to see this, he called out. The quantum integration with their biopatterns. It's opened up entirely new possibilities for our systems. We're not just learning to adapt anymore. We're learning to evolve in ways we never thought possible. Chen studied the data, her mind already racing with the implications. Send all of this to Earth Command immediately. If what I'm seeing is correct, we've just taken our first steps into an entirely new realm of technological evolution. As the last enemy ships disappeared into FTL, the Tenacity hung in space, its systems quietly incorporating everything they had learned. The hunt had backfired spectacularly for their opponents, but Chen knew this was far from over. Somewhere out there, both the Zexri and the Kraxen would be analyzing this encounter, learning, adapting. Good, she thought. Let them learn, because so will we. And that's what they still don't understand about humanity. We don't just adapt to survive. We adapt to thrive. Deep within the secure chambers of Earth Command, Admiral Marcus Way studied the holographic display of the Tenacity's latest battle data. Representatives from every major human colony watched as the quantum biological hybrid patterns danced before them. What we're seeing, he addressed the assembly, is more than just technological advancement. It's evolution in real time. Meanwhile, in the depths of uncharted space, the Tenacity underwent its most dramatic transformation yet. Dr. Harrison hadn't left his station for 3 days, monitoring the ship's unprecedented development. Captain, he called out, his voice hoarse from exhaustion, you need to see this. The quantum biological integration isn't just holding, it's creating entirely new patterns. Captain Chen stood behind him, watching as the ship's smart metal hull rippled with possibilities. Show me. The main screen filled with cascading data streams. The Tenacity's systems had taken the biological adaptability of the Kraxen ships and merged it with quantum uncertainty principles, creating something entirely new. We're not just existing in multiple quantum states anymore, Harrison explained, his eyes bright with wonder. The ship is learning to manipulate the fabric of space-time itself. Lieutenant Rodriguez's voice cut through their discussion. Multiple FTL signatures detected. Massive fleet movement. It's both the Zexri and Kraxen, but something's different. The space around the Tenacity erupted with activity as over 60 ships emerged from FTL. But these weren't the same vessels they'd faced before. The Zexri ships now pulse with bioorganic components, while the Kraxen bioships showed signs of quantum modification. They've been learning too, Chen observed, her voice steady. Good. Harrison, initiate full spectrum analysis. Let's see what our friends have been up to. A new voice boomed across all frequencies, the dual-toned harmony of both Emperor Kralthax and Admiral Vextor speaking in sync. Humanity has shown us the power of adaptation and evolution. We have taken those lessons to heart. The Allied fleet began to move in perfect synchronization, their hybrid ships forming patterns that bent both space and biological reality. It was an awesome display of power, combining the best of both species' technologies. Impressive, Chen responded. But you're still thinking like separate species trying to work together. We've gone beyond that. She turned to Harrison. Show them what true integration looks like. The engineer's fingers flew across his console, initiating sequences that had only existed in theoretical models days ago. The Tenacity's hull began to shift, not just in physical space, but in quantum reality itself. The smart metal didn't just adapt. It transcended its original programming. Full quantum biological synthesis achieved, Harrison reported. All systems are evolving in real time. The Tenacity's transformation was beautiful and terrifying to behold. The ship existed simultaneously in multiple quantum states, each one expressing different biological adaptations. It was as if humanity had created a vessel that could rewrite the laws of physics while incorporating the principles of evolution itself. The Allied fleet opened fire, their hybrid weapons combining energy beams with living matter and quantum disruption fields. But the Tenacity was no longer bound by conventional rules of space combat. Each attack was not just avoided, it was absorbed, analyzed, and used to fuel further evolution. "Their weapons are having no effect," Rodriguez reported, her voice filled with awe. "The ship is adapting faster than they can develop new attack patterns." Chen watched as the Tenacity's systems incorporated and improved upon every strategy the enemy fleet employed. "Send the data back to Earth Command. They need to see this." The battle became a demonstration of humanity's greatest strength, not just the ability to adapt, but to synthesize seemingly incompatible concepts into something greater than the sum of its parts. The Tenacity moved through space like a living quantum equation, each action perfectly calculated yet organically fluid. "Their fleet is pulling back," Rodriguez announced. They're requesting to open a dialogue." The combined voices of the alien leaders returned, this time with a note of genuine respect. "We believed we understood the limits of technological and biological advancement. We were wrong. Humanity has shown us that true evolution knows no bounds." Chen smiled. "That's the thing about humanity. We've never accepted limits. We see boundaries not as barriers, but as challenges to overcome. Each of your species mastered one aspect of reality. We chose to master the spaces between, to find connections where others saw only divisions." The battle space fell quiet as the Allied fleet maintained their distance, their hybrid ships processing this new paradigm. Harrison's console continued to light up with new developments as the Tenacity systems integrated everything they had learned. "Captain," he said softly, "what we've created here, it's not just a new type of ship. It's a new way of thinking about what's possible." Chen nodded, watching as the smart metal hull rippled with quantum biological patterns that would have been impossible to imagine just weeks ago. "That's always been humanity's greatest weapon, hasn't it? Not our technology or our adaptability, but our ability to imagine something better than what exists and then make it real." The alien leaders spoke again, but this time separately, their voices carrying different tones of the same revelation. "We offer not surrender," Emperor Kralthax rumbled, "but partnership. Your species has shown us that true advancement comes not from perfecting one path," Admiral Vextor added, "but from finding ways to unite many." As the diplomatic channels opened and the first steps toward a new galactic order began, Chen looked around at her crew, the humans who had helped prove that sometimes the greatest strength lies not in being the most advanced, but in being able to see beyond the boundaries that others take for granted. "Send word to Earth Command," she ordered. Tell them humanity has just taken its first step into a much larger universe, and we're ready for whatever comes next." 3 months after the historic confrontation, the Tenacity orbited Earth's primary quantum shipyard, its evolved hull shimmering with possibilities. Captain Chen stood in the observation lounge, watching as crews of human, Zexri, and Kraxan engineers worked together on a new generation of vessels that combined the best aspects of all 3 species' technologies. "It's still hard to believe how much has changed," Lieutenant Rodriguez said, joining her captain at the window. "A year ago, they thought we were primitives. Now they're studying our designs like eager students." Chen smiled. "Ironic, isn't it? They spent centuries perfecting their individual technologies, while we focused on understanding how everything connects. Sometimes the best view comes from standing on the shoulders of giants and then learning to fly." Dr. Harrison burst into the lounge, his usual controlled demeanor replaced with barely contained excitement. "Captain, you need to see this. The latest quantum biological synthesis test. It's beyond anything we imagined." In the shipyard's main testing chamber, a prototype vessel underwent its first full systems check. Unlike the sleek Zexri ships or the organic Kraxon vessels, this new craft represented something entirely new. Its hull shifted between states of matter, quantum possibilities rippling across its surface like waves on a digital ocean. Emperor Kralfax's massive form dominated one side of the chamber, his 4 eyes tracking every movement of the prototype. Remarkable. The biological components aren't just adapting to the quantum fluctuations, they're anticipating them. Admiral Vextor, standing nearby, nodded in agreement. Our centuries of technological advancement, combined with Kraxon biological mastery and human innovative thinking. Perhaps this is what evolution truly means, not just changing, but bringing together the best of all possibilities. The prototype systems hummed to life, its hybrid core pulsing with energy that defied conventional physics. This wasn't just a warship or an exploration vessel. It was a bridge between different ways of thinking about reality itself. Full power test beginning, Harrison announced, his fingers dancing across the control panel. Quantum biological synchronization at optimal levels. The assembled engineers and scientists watched in awe as the prototype demonstrated capabilities that would have seemed impossible just months ago. It could phase through solid matter, adapt its biological systems in real time, and manipulate quantum states with unprecedented precision. The reading's amazing, Harrison reported. The smart metal has fully integrated with both the quantum manipulation systems and the bioorganic components. It's not just combining our technologies, it's creating entirely new ones. Chen turned to the alien leaders. This is what we've been trying to show you. Humanity didn't need to have the most advanced ships or the most sophisticated bioengineering. We just needed to see the connections that everyone else missed. A sudden alert drew their attention. Rodriguez rushed to her console. Multiple contacts at the edge of the system. Unknown configuration. They're not in any of our databases. Through the observation window, they watched as strange vessels appeared, their design unlike anything seen before. They moved with an alien grace, their hulls seeming to bend light itself around them. First contact protocol, Chen ordered calmly. Let's show our new friends what unified advancement looks like. The prototype ship moved to intercept, its hybrid systems adapting to analyze the newcomers. But instead of preparing for combat, it began to resonate with the alien vessels, establishing communication on levels that transcended conventional signals. They're responding, Harrison called out. Their technology, it's different from anything we've seen, but the prototype is already learning to interface with it. The alien ships drew closer, their unusual designs becoming clearer. They weren't just vessels. They were works of art, technology so advanced it appeared almost magical. Yet the prototype, born from the combined knowledge and creativity of 3 species, was able to understand and interact with them. They're sending a message, Rodriguez announced. Universal translators are processing. They say they've been watching, waiting to see if our species could move beyond their differences. They say this is what they were hoping to find. Chen shared a knowing look with the alien leaders. Tell them we welcome the chance to learn from them, just as we've learned from each other. The galaxy's a big place. There's always room for more perspectives, more ways of thinking. The new aliens accepted the invitation to join the cooperative effort at the shipyard. As their representatives came aboard, Chen couldn't help but reflect on how far they'd come. From being dismissed as primitives to becoming the bridge between different species and their technologies, humanity had proven that true advancement came not from perfecting one path, but from finding ways to unite many. You know what this means, Harrison said quietly, watching as human, Zexri, Kraxon, and now these new alien engineers began sharing ideas. We're not just building better ships anymore. We're building a better future. Chen nodded, her gaze fixed on the prototype as it continued to evolve, incorporating new insights from their latest visitors. That's always been humanity's real strength, hasn't it? Not our technology or our adaptability, but our ability to look at different pieces and see how they might fit together to create something new. As the shipyard buzzed with activity, the Tenacity maintained its watch, its evolved systems, a testament to how far they'd come and a promise of how far they might go. The ship that had once been mocked as slow and primitive had become the catalyst for a new age of galactic cooperation and advancement. "Send word to Earth Command," Chen ordered. "Tell them to prepare for a new phase of expansion. The galaxy's about to get a lot more interesting, and humanity's going to help lead the way." The future stretched out before them, filled with possibilities that even their most advanced quantum predictions couldn't foresee. But that was exactly how humanity liked it. Always reaching, always learning, always finding new ways to turn limitations into opportunities. After all, that's what evolution was really about.